veteran search and rescue operator answered a standard distress call. He thought it was just another lost hiker. He had no idea that by the end of the call, he'd be listening to a creature that perfectly mimics its prey. And it just learned his name. Welcome back to Mr. Wick and Whispers. Tonight, we're stepping into the deep timber where the lines between reality and isolation begin to blur. For one dispatcher, a routine emergency call from a lonely hiking trail quickly spiraled into a claustrophobic trap, a nightmare where the forest itself seemed to rewrite the rules of existence. The woods don't always play by our maps, and sometimes the dark has a voice of its own. If you're ready to listen, adjust your headphones, turn down the lights, and let the static take over. There's a specific kind of silence that only exists in the deep timber at 3 in the morning. It isn't peaceful. It's heavy, thick, and expectant, like the forest is holding its breath, waiting for you to make a mistake. I've worked as a search and rescue dispatcher for 22 years. I've heard every sound a human being can make when they realize they are truly, utterly lost. I've heard the panic, the weeping, the desperate bargaining with whatever God they think is listening. But nothing in my over 2 decades of service could have prepared me for the call that came across my console on a rainy Tuesday night in October. The storm outside was tapping rhythmically against the reinforced glass of the ranger station. I was on hour 11 of a 12-hour shift, drinking lukewarm black coffee that tasted like battery acid and copper. The radio console had been dead quiet for hours. Most hikers had cleared out of the park 3 days prior when the unseasonal cold snap hit. The national park I oversee covers nearly 800,000 acres of dense, unforgiving wilderness. Miles of jagged ridges, ancient pine forests, and cave systems that have never been mapped. At exactly 3:14 a.m., the console didn't just ring, it shrieked. The digital display didn't register a standard cell tower ping. Instead, the screen flickered violently, the green backlighting dropping in intensity as static hissed through my heavy studio headphones. I adjusted the headset, cleared my throat, and hit the receiver toggle. Search and rescue dispatch. This is Operator Miller. State the nature of your emergency. There was no answer at first, just the sound of heavy, ragged breathing. It was wet, desperate, and fast. The sound of someone who had been running until their lungs were bleeding. Behind the breathing, there was a strange, rhythmic thrumming sound. It didn't sound like wind or rain. It sounded like a massive, low-frequency vibration, like a heavy engine idling deep underground. Dispatch. The voice finally broke through. It was a young man. His voice was trembling so violently his teeth were clicking together. "Oh God, dispatch, thank God. You have to help me. I don't know where I am. The trail is gone." "Take a deep breath for me, son," I said, putting on my best calm, authoritative, professional voice. "I need you to look around. Can you tell me your name, and did you trail off the main path of the Whispering Pines Loop?" "My name is Ethan," he stammered. The panic in his voice was rising, sharp and jagged. "And no, I didn't leave the trail. That's what you don't understand. I stayed right on the marked path. I was following the blue blazes on the trees. But things are changing. Everything is changing." "What do you mean by changing, Ethan? Are you disoriented? Have you sustained a head injury?" "No, I'm not crazy," he screamed into the receiver. The sudden spike in volume distorted the audio, sending a sharp crackle directly into my ears. "Listen to me. I turned around to go back to the trailhead, and the path just ended. It doesn't run into the brush, dispatcher. It runs directly into a solid rock wall, a sheer cliff face. I swear to you, it wasn't here 20 minutes ago. I walked right through here. And the sun, oh God, the sun. I frowned, glancing at the digital clock on my desk. It was 3:17 a.m. Ethan, what about the sun? It set 3 hours early, he whispered. The sudden drop in his pitch sent a cold chill down my spine. I checked my watch. It was 4 in the afternoon. The sky was completely blue. Then the shadows just stretched out all at once, like someone pulled a curtain over the sky in a single second. It's pitch black out here. It's so black I can't even see my own hands. I tried to tell myself that the pitch black darkness and the crushing isolation of the woods were just playing cruel tricks on his panicked mind. I'd seen it before. When severe hypothermia sets in and your brain enters a deep, helpless panic mode, the forest starts to warp. The trees can look like solid walls, and time completely loses its meaning. I needed to lock down his location before his phone died, or he ran himself off a real cliff, because logic was the only anchor I had left. Ethan, I want you to stay exactly where you are, I said, typing rapidly to initiate a cellular triangulation. I'm tracing your signal right now. Do you have a whistle or a flashlight with you? I have my phone flashlight, he said, his breathing stuttering. But it's not doing anything. The light, it just stops. It's like the dark out here is too thick. It's absorbing the beam. And dispatcher, the trees, they aren't making any noise. There's no wind, but I can hear things moving. Not animal things. It sounds like heavy scraping, like giant stones being dragged across concrete. The triangulation software on my screen began its slow, sweeping progress bar. Percentages ticked up. 10%, 20%. Just stay calm, Ethan. Keep talking to me. Focus on the sound of my voice. I'm going to get a rescue team out to you. You don't understand, Ethan wept, the total conviction in his voice making the hair on my arms stand up. I tried to climb up a ridge to get a better look. I climbed for 10 minutes. When I reached the top, I was back at the exact same rock wall. I checked the tree next to it. I carved my initials into it 5 minutes ago. I walked up a steep incline away from it, and it brought me right back to the bottom. The geography, it's folding in on itself. It's trapping me. The computer chimed. The triangulation was complete. I looked down at the map display, expecting to see a blinking red dot near the popular hiking corridors. Instead, the red marker was blinking wildly in a massive, blank, gray dead zone on the far western edge of the park. My breath caught in my throat. I stared at the coordinates. The software was placing him directly inside Sector 7. My hand began to shake against the edge of the desk. Sector 7 didn't exist on any modern tourist map. In 1974, the federal government had constructed massive 12-foot chain-link fences topped with razor wire around a 20-square-mile perimeter in that specific region. They buried the access roads under tons of rock. They designated it a permanent ecological preservation zone and legally sealed it off. As park rangers, we were given one unbreakable, unyielding rule during our orientation. Under no circumstances does anyone enter Sector 7. If a hiker wanders past the fences, you do not launch a recovery mission. You close the file. I looked at the blinking dot. He was 3 miles inside the sealed perimeter. How could he have gotten past the fences without noticing? My mind raced through the options, none of them good. If you found yourself in my boots, sitting at that console, realizing a kid was trapped inside a forbidden, government-sealed dead zone, what would you do? Would you risk everything to break the rules and try to save him? Or would you follow protocol and let the line go dead? Tell me your honest thoughts in the comments below, because looking back, I still don't know if I made the right choice. I swallowed hard, forcing the rising dread back down into my stomach. Ethan, can you see any fences around you? Any signs that say restricted area? No, his voice crackled. The static on the line was growing denser, a low-toned hum that seemed to vibrate the very plastic of my headset. There's nothing here but trees and these walls. Wait, hold on. The scraping stopped. The crushing silence that followed on the line was agonizing. I could hear the faint rhythmic ticking of the clock on my office wall. I could hear my own pulse drumming in my ears. Ethan, talk to me. What do you hear? There's a light, Ethan whispered. His voice had lost all its panicked energy. It was completely hollow now, empty. It's a green light. It's coming from inside the rock wall. The stone. It's opening up, dispatcher. It looks like an old iron door. It's rusted. It looks like the entrance to a bunker or something. It's built right into the side of the mountain. A cold sweat broke out across my forehead. In the old archival records from the 1970s, records I wasn't supposed to have access to but read late at night anyway, there were mentions of underground military listening posts abandoned after the war. Posts that were built directly beneath Sector 7. Ethan, listen to me very carefully. I leaned into the microphone, my voice dropping to a harsh whisper. Do not go near that door. Do not look at the light. Turn around and walk away from it. Do you hear me? Walk away. But it's warm, Ethan said. His voice was strange now. The cadence of his words was shifting. The frantic, terrified tone of a 19-year-old kid was flattening out into a flat, monotone drone. It feels so warm, and the air smells like home. It smells like Sunday dinner. Ethan, break out of it. It's a sensory illusion. You are experiencing severe hypothermia. I slammed my fist onto the desk, trying to shock him back to reality. It's calling my name, Ethan murmured. But it's not using a voice. It's using a frequency. It hurts my teeth. It's telling me that if I come inside, the sun will come back up. It says the map only works inside the dark. Ethan, stay on the line. I'm dispatching a unit. That was a lie. No unit would ever go out there. The Rangers would see the coordinates, look at me with pitying eyes, and tell me to log it as a phantom signal. But I couldn't just let this kid walk into whatever horrors were buried in Sector 7. Suddenly, the audio on the line underwent a terrifying transformation. The heavy, wet breathing of the hiker stopped entirely. The background static died. The low-frequency thrumming vanished. The line became so clean, so completely devoid of background noise, that it sounded like the caller was sitting in the room right next to me. I'm at the door now, the voice said. But it wasn't Ethan's voice anymore. The pitch had dropped. The subtle, nervous stutter was gone. The accent had shifted from a slight Midwestern drawl to something completely flat, crisp, and analytical. It sounded exactly like me. My heart felt like it had been gripped by an icy fist. I stopped breathing. I stared at the console, my eyes wide with a pure, helpless terror. The door is open, Operator Miller, the voice said through my headphones. It was my voice. It was the exact tone, the exact rhythm, the exact way I spoke when I answered the emergency line. It was a perfect, exact sound-alike. It's very dark in here, but I can see the coordinates now. I can see the station. "Who is this?" I choked out, my voice cracking. "Where is Ethan?" "Ethan is part of the landscape now," my own voice replied back to me, speaking with a sickeningly calm, rhythmic precision. "The geography has accepted him. The trails have reset. But the signal is still open, Miller. We used his phone to find the frequency of your headset. We tracked the line back up the mountain." The computer screen in front of me suddenly glitched. The map showing Sector 7 vanished, replaced by a series of rapidly scrolling lines of corrupted green code. The triangulation marker began to move. It was no longer stationary in the restricted zone. The red dot was moving down the mountain. It was traveling at an impossible speed, faster than any vehicle, faster than any aircraft. It was cutting straight through solid rock walls and dense forests on the map, a straight, unyielding line heading directly toward the coordinates of my isolated ranger station. "Stop this," I whispered, tears of sheer panic welling in my eyes. I reached out to hit the disconnect switch on the console. My fingers slammed down onto the plastic button. Nothing happened. The line stayed open. The green light on the receiver remained solidly lit. "You can't close the loop from the inside, Miller," my voice echoed in my ears. "We are coming to the trailhead now. The fences didn't keep us out. They just kept you in." Outside the station, the rhythmic tapping of the rain suddenly stopped. The wind died down to a total dead calm. The heavy, low-frequency thrumming sound I had heard through the phone minutes ago, the deep, stone-scraping vibration, was no longer coming through my headphones. It was coming from the floorboards beneath my feet. The entire cabin began to vibrate. The lukewarm coffee in my mug formed perfect, even circular ripples. I pulled the headset off my ears and threw it onto the desk, but my own voice continued to pour out of the small, tinny speakers of the console, filling the empty room. "It's so dark out here, Miller," the console broadcasted, the voice now overlapping with itself, creating a bizarre, chorus-like effect. "The sun set 3 hours early for you too, didn't it? Look out the window." Slowly, with the agonizing dread of a man walking to his own execution, I turned my head toward the reinforced glass window of the dispatch office. The storm was gone. The rain had vanished. But there were no stars. There was no moon. There was only a solid, pitch-black void that seemed to press directly against the glass. And out there, deep in the tree line just beyond the gravel parking lot, I could see a faint, flickering green light. It was moving toward the front door. Then came the sound. It wasn't a knock. It was a heavy, rhythmic scraping against the wooden porch steps, like a massive stone being dragged up the stairs by something that didn't know how to walk on legs. My console chirped one final time. A text notification flashed across the corrupted screen. It was an automated system alert from the park's main security grid. "Warning, Sector 7 perimeter breach. Lockdown failed." The scraping sound reached the top of the stairs. It stopped right outside the heavy oak door of the station. A moment of pure, suffocating silence passed. Then, from the other side of the door, a voice began to beg. It didn't scream. It didn't threaten. It just spoke with the exact, terrified, trembling cadence of a 19-year-old hiker named Ethan, combined perfectly with the deep, authoritative tone of my own voice. "Please," the thing outside whispered, its voice bleeding through the cracks in the wood. "I'm so cold out here. The trail's changed again. Please, dispatcher, just open the door and let me inside the station." The call never disconnected. To this day, the rangers who occasionally check the perimeter of that forgotten station say the equipment is still running. The green light on the console is still blinking, and the line remains open. They say if you put on the headset, you can still hear two voices arguing in the static, trying to convince each other who is the dispatcher and who is the entity outside the door. If you were locked in that station and the voice on the other side of the door sounded exactly like your own, begging for help, would you believe it was a trick of the mind? Or would you accept that the rules of our world don't apply once you step past the grid? Let me know your theories in the comments. Watching from somewhere dark and quiet tonight? Drop where you're watching from below. And if these stories stay with you, consider subscribing to Mr. Wick and Whispers. Stay safe in the dark.